In this video demonstration, we're going to see the integration between ArcFM Advanced Labeling and Telvent DMS. We'll be labeling primary underground conductor based on current, power, and voltage. So if we have a look at this label expression, you'll see that we are labeling primary underground electric line segment, and we're going to make use of the Telvent DMS labeler. The Telvent DMS labeler gives us access to more than 50 different load flow parameters. And some of those load flow parameters include what we are labeling on here, current, power, and voltage. But there's a number of other things that we can label on as well, including things like power factor. We can also label based upon values at the receiving end or at the feeding end of each individual line segment, and also label based on individual phases A, B, and C. In order to specify which load flow parameters you want to label on, you simply check them in the list here, and then they will be available to your field text labelers, which get placed below the DMS labeler. So for example, I've chosen section underscore I1, which is the current module, amperage, at the feeding end, as well as active power flow at the feeding end, and reactive power flow at the feeding end of the section. Then in our label expression, we're able to treat those load flow parameters as if they were fields coming from a table. So I've created my expression just as you might with the relationship labeler or any of the other labelers that we've looked at in past ArcFM Buzz posts. And in this case, what I've specified that I want to do is label based on the current, followed by the power, followed by the voltage. I'm adding a carriage return or a new line after each parameter, and also specifying just a little bit of text. There's the A, for example, right there for amperage, kilowatts, and kVAR. A few other things to note about this expression. You'll notice that I have enabled rounding, so each of these fields will be rounded based on 2 significant digits. Also, if we go up to the top level properties for the label, and we go to the performance options in here, you'll see that I've chosen to process the labels in bulk. That's going to give me a significantly better performance than I would if I were to get these load flow parameters one at a time. And if we go to Smart options at the top level properties here, Smart again stands for Smart Monitoring and Real-Time Labeling. We're enabling smart labeling, and we're going to have an automatic refresh rate of once every 6 seconds. So we won't have to pan and zoom in order to refresh our labels. It will automatically update for us when things change on the Telvent DMS side. So here in ArcMap then, we see that our values are 3.33, 23.27, and 8 kVAR. So now I'm going to switch over to Telvent DMS and work with the DMD application. I'm looking at the same general area that I was on the GIS side in ArcMap. We'll see those same values represented right here. One of the things that I can do in DMD is I can open a closed fuse. So I do that by clicking on the fuse right here. And we can see that this fuse is currently in service on C phase. Now what I can do is I can take this out of service by unchecking this box. Now that will essentially open this fuse on all 3 phases, and so when I click OK here, all of these values are going to go to 0, and then we'll see that reflected on the GIS side as soon as I go back. So I'll click OK here. We see the values go to 0 here. I'll minimize my remote desktop here so we can go back to the GIS, and within 6 seconds, and in fact in this case it happens right away, I see that that has been now reflected on the GIS side. So what we've seen in this video demonstration is that it's actually quite simple to create a label expression that makes use of Telvent DMS and allows us to integrate between Telvent DMS and the GIS using ArcFM Advanced Labeling.